Hi guys, it's Beth here today with Scrapping for Less, and I decided that I wanted to use the Let's Hang Out 6 Feet Apart stamp and sentiment from the June 2020 Flavor of the Month kit to make a journal tag. A few months ago, when the whole pandemic hit and quarantine started, I had just made a journal for myself to use up some just paper from my stash. Like, journals are such a great way to use up paper and scrap in your stash. And so I decided to turn it into kind of, well, it had already had like Remember My Life for 2020, and this is definitely a year to remember. So I have just kind of used this to journal about the crazy things that's been going on, you know, the things that happened during the pandemic and quarantine and the experiences we had with e-learning and everybody being home and, you know, just all the different things we've experienced in the last several months. So when I saw this stamp from Scrapping for Less in last month's kit, I knew I needed to include it in my journal. And so I had this piece left, like I had stamped some extra monkeys on the monkey bars when I was doing my, the cards when I was kind of debuting the kit to you all. And I had also played with the stencil that came with the kit for the grass. And so this was kind of an extra piece that I hadn't used yet, and so I decided that I was just going to use this one and turn it into like a tag, a journal tag, and use it in my journal because, I mean, let's hang out 6 feet apart. Like, that's still what we're doing with a lot of people. So anyway, I went ahead and got started because I wanted to see if it would work. I have one of these little finger utility knives, and I tested it to see if I could cut out the little square in between the monkey bars, because my thought is that I want to weave this ribbon, the leaf ribbon, kind of through the monkey bars and let it hang down. And so I was going to go ahead and cut some of the holes, color up the tag, add my ribbon, and then add my sentiment and, you know, kind of go from there. So I just thought I would do this along with you guys just so you could see a different use for one of the stamp sets in this kit. So I'm going to switch to a voiceover so that I can speed some of it up, because you don't need to see me, you know, trying to intricately fussy cut all these out in real time. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoy this project, and I think I will, because I'm going to have fun including this one in my little pandemic journal for 2020. So my first task is to finish cutting out the space in between some of the monkey bars, and I'm not doing all of them. I just wanted to do like every other one so that I could fit that the leaf ribbon, kind of drape it through the top and then drape it down the sides. And I love this little finger blade because I can, you know, get very precise details, and I fussed with it for a while to get it as a clean cut as I could, and I still left some white space that I'll try and fix with the black marker later. So here I'm just doing some basic coloring, and I do show you at the end of when I'm done with this color what the color is, but it is, I'm using a combination of Prismacolors and Copics for this one. This is PB 111, and it's a gray, and I chose this over my Copics because this has more of a fine tip and it helps me get into those small spaces on the stamp a little better. So I just did one coat over most of the monkey bars and then went back over the top corners there, like where the connectors were. So the next color I'm using is the PB 72. It's kind of a light tan, and just wanted to do some parts of the monkey with this color, like his hands, feet, and the faces. And again, I do like the fine tip on this one. I will be coming in with a second color for the monkeys with PB 172. And that will be the brown for the body of the monkeys. And I didn't do any shading on the monkeys. It's such a small space to color in. So once I get the monkeys finished coloring, I am going to come in with one of my Copics, and it is a lipstick orange, R17 for the tongues, the inside of the mouth of the little monkeys. And then I'm going to come in with my Prismacolor Black, PB211, and try and kind of add some black ink to the edges of where I cut, just to make it look a little cleaner. I know a lot of it you won't see when I loop the ribbon through, but I just kind of wanted to clean it up a little bit. And then of course the black kind of bled, or I was a little heavy-handed in some spots, so I do come back in with my original gray, the PB111, and go over the top part of the monkey bars again, just to kind of clean up the bars and make them look more shaded, kind of blend in that black a little bit more. Again, I don't know how much of it you're going to be able to see, or I didn't at this time, but just trying to clean it up a little bit. So once I decide I'm okay with that, then I get to try and figure out how I want to thread this ribbon through. I know what I want it to look like, but for the life of me, I really struggled on how to feed it through to get it to look that way. I am always like spatially challenged, like the tests that you used to have to take, I think like with the SAT, ACT, and you had to, you know, rotate a cube, like they give you a shape and in your mind you had to rotate it and figure out what it could, I don't know. I just know that I'm just trying to envision these things. Like when my husband talks about construction projects and gives me dimensions and talks about the layout, I cannot see it in my head based on his words. Like I have to actually see it and do it. I'm spatially challenged is what we always say. So anyway, long story, but it takes me a while to figure out how I want to get this ribbon through, and I finally figure it out, and I do kind of have to kind of double it up in that center hole that I cut out there at the top of the monkey bars and glue it down so that it stays and lays the way I want it to. So luckily this ribbon is pretty pliable and it seemed to hold well with my art glitter glue. So I'm just trimming off the edges here because I wanted it to drape down almost as if like they were, you know, it was monkey bars in a jungle. This is creativity. We can imagine whatever we want, right? So I'm just adding some glue to the leaves to get them to stay down, and then am holding that side down with one of my stamp blocks while I work on the other side. And then I don't have anything that will fit all the way across other than my phone. So I do set my phone on top of here once I'm done so that it can dry. So I set that aside for a few minutes and had just cut that time out. And now I'm going to use the sentiment with that stamp set, Let's Hang Out 6 Feet Apart. And this is, I ended up pulling a scrap piece of paper from collection number 4. I liked it because it kind of looked like a sky in the background. It's kind of a blue that fades from darker to light. And I pull out my We Are Memory Keepers tag angle punch and just do the large angle on top of my blue piece. And then because the blue piece is like a slick paper, I wanted to make sure that my stamp was going to stamp correctly. So I did stamp off one time before I stamped it on my tag. And I'm kind of off camera here, but I do end up pulling in some score tape to put on the back of my tag. Since I do have the ribbon coming through on the back, I wanted to make sure that it was going to hold well. And I do love score tape for things like that. So what you can't, you just missed me putting on score tape kind of on the other side of, that's out of view here. Sorry about that. But so now I'm putting my colored piece on, and then I want to use the rest of that ribbon up at the top for the top of my tag. So I bring in a small hole punch And again, trying to figure out how I want to feed the ribbon through, and then struggle with actually getting it to pull through snugly. Just because of the leaves, they kept getting caught. So I fiddled with this for a while too. Sometimes you have to be smarter than the ribbon, and today I was not. So I do finally get it to pull snug, and I just add a little bit of art glitter glue kind of right under, like where they loop over in the front, and that will kind of help hold them, keep it together, keep it from coming unraveled. Although I think with the leaves on this ribbon, I'm not sure it would come undone that well anyway, but I just wanted to make sure. So finally, my tag is done. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this different project, this little project. I'm excited to put it into my pandemic journal. And here I'm just showing you what it would look like, as an example, in my journal. But thanks for your time today, guys. I will have products linked in the description box below. This kit is sold out, but the paper collections are still available. So I will link what I can in the description box below. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, we'll talk to you again soon.